Hello,
Welcome to the 150th episode of DevKami. And I am Jilyong.
and I am Tristan.
And we have Sweemeng just got out before I
Yeah,
start this.
yeah, he
So
left. He didn't want to do the introduction, probably, so he escaped.
escape his responsibility. Wait, let
Well,
me
let's go
share.
to devkami.com slash, well, the root, I guess. Oh no, slash, I already forgot.
Slash meetup.
Meetups. devkami.com slash meetups, and then we'll see what is
Yep.
there.
So for this Saturday, we have Take Up. And then
And I
is
guess that's it.
as I said, we're not gonna have anything. Uh,
Is Go not doing any
Uh,
meetups?
by request. So I don't know what to talk about. So
Mm.
yeah. So Swimming just got
But
in.
if hello,
So let's start the event. We have nothing happening other than pick up, as you already seen. They are active and that's good. That's good. Let's keep the community. That
Yeah,
spoiler alert.
and yeah, there's been talk about like whether to do meetup also on for Python as well. But I think the one that the most persistent is Ruby.
Yeah, even
Still
the
happening
JS
every
meetup stopped already because I think everybody's tired. You know my usual rule: if when the original founder is too tired, start one fork it or whatever. Right? So yeah. So
yeah,
that being
but
said,
so
uh huh.
which meetup is this?
We have tech up
Which
meetup
meetup are you?
and
Ah,
I'm talking about the Python one and occasionally the JS
mm.
one and whatnot.
So I
Python.
guess it's
I think at this stage
yeah.
is pretty wide, so
Yeah,
it should be more specialized, like Python
Mm.
for what?
co- correct. I think
So
the
people
Python
are
that
just
people use
So
to do that.
really
Yeah,
waiting
maybe
for the physical meetups. Is that it?
possible, possible.
Mm.
somehow
But that
people
being
are more
said,
comfortable doing that.
not much event next this week and next week other than tech up. So you can go to our website to go event. I'm still
Yeah, I wonder
working.
if it's the
Huh.
quality of the presentations. Like, do people think it's less quality because it's remote?
Is the human
I think the
interaction.
attention is, from what
Mm.
I noticed for the past year, is that the attention seem to be not there
Yeah,
for
correct.
online meetups.
Mm-hmm.
Even for
Got it.
meetings, like even work meetings, seems like the art. I mean the people from the other side, they cannot pay as much attention than
Mm-hmm.
like
Correct.
physical.
Yeah.
Is this a
So
generational thing? Because my
Mm.
15-year-old niece probably can attend remote calls better than many people. People are saturated
That
of
too.
being online. Yeah, that's probably the reason.
yeah.
Is
So
that
let's
we
go to the
are
bus conduct.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to go through that again?
yeah.
Okay, let's go through bus conduct. So first is there going to be contextual search, and also part of it is ads, right? Is it ads? Is something about ads as well?
Basically,
Yeah, it's essentially ads. So you can opt out when you need it. Yeah, it is ads, as you said, ads marketplace. So because as many may not know, but Mozilla have two part. Firefox is actually under the commercial part of Mozilla. So yes. So yeah, they need to make money, and this is what happened lah.
Yeah, they have to make money because they have to pay the developers. Because if you didn't
Correct,
know, people don't actually develop the browser for free.
correct.
People
So
actually
what
get paid.
happened? So let's go back to in the 90s when the browser was. So what happened is Netscape do have a plan to sell browsers, but Microsoft give Internet Explorer away
they
for
did
free
they
right
did
now.
at one time sold their browser. I remember having needed a subscription, I think,
Correct.
or some
So then what
a
happened?
license key.
then what happened is, Nesca also tried to do a few things like they try to own the web server market and whatnot. But Microsoft comes in and give Internet Explorer for free, then that's history lah. So we expect Internet as free now lah. So the next one, 2021 is indeed the year of Linux desktop through Windows. So WSLG, I demoed this before, is actually out quite not that long, but quite a while. It's like a few months back. So what's interesting is you get to use graphics, sound support, and all that. But the biggest thing for Windows 11 is you can get it on Windows Store now. So what it means is that it's easier to install, because previously, if you're not familiar with it, you use the command line. Or
if you don't know how to copy and paste into a Windows terminal, it's going to be a bit difficult.
And also, you have to you may want to dig deeper into the configuration to enable it. But now it's actually on Windows Store, so you can actually install it now. And WSLG is there by default, meaning you can do graphics and all that. So as I said last time, if you use Windows application, maybe not that interesting. But what is really interesting is, let's say you have to do browser tests. So you write code on Windows via WSL for compatibility reasons. So you want the hardware and also work on the Linux environment. But unfortunately, on the Linux environment, you also have browser tests, right? Those things require GUI. So WSLG are there to solve this kind of problem, as well as a few specialized applications like the ROS, robot operating system simulator, and whatnot. But yeah, it's there. Also, it's they also have Word Manager now, which is actually very interesting. So you can manage virtual machines, but so you can run it on WSL, then you do the magic.
It became really weird, like as in the layers are a bit,
correct.
The lines are a bit blurred.
Correct. It's getting very weird very fast.
It's getting very weird, like when you try to use it, like for example, if you use Docker with WSL, then the Docker is actually on the Windows host. Just plug into the hypervisor, the hypervisor. It got really weird.
Yes, because Docker is essentially another operating system beside, let's say, you use Ubuntu. So it's on the side of the thing. Yeah, it gets really weird really fast on development.
Well, no, I would say Docker is more of a layer on top of a container platform. Like in Linux, usually it's I forgot which one, Linux containers.
So So what happened is, you had the host operating system, your Ubuntu is here, then your Docker is here. Then every time you run Docker from Linux, it will run it on here.
Yeah, because the Docker wrapper on Windows runs it under Hyper-V. That's why it can like simulate the thing. If you're running it on, so the Docker just like transports or translates the request. You can have a Docker client on WSL, but then it just connects to the Docker on Windows, which runs the images under or the containers under Hyper-V. If you're on a Windows platform, of course in Linux it's different. In Mac it's their new hypervisor framework or something on Mac, so you don't have to run a virtual machine anymore.
So either way, very interesting world, and as I say, 2021 is indeed the world of Linux, the year of Linux desktop on Windows. So let's move on. So this is Linker. No, this is actually Tailscale. What is Tailscale?
Tailscale is something that they built their technology on top of WireGuard. So it does things like magical things like net punch through and stuff lah.
Okay.
So extra stuff on top of WireGuard technology.
So unfortunately, it goes too big and they cannot distribute or something.
No, not really.
I understand this.
I actually didn't read it. I think it's binary size.
Yeah, it's about binary size. So they're actually improving the Go linker to actually reduce the size of the binary, so that it's easier to install, use on iOS. So.
And also WireGuard is that WireGuard is native on Linux kernel, the newer version of Linux kernel. But for something like other things like Mac OS or Windows, they they have abstraction lah, basically.
Correct,
And
correct.
it's
They
a
had a
build,
wrapper
yeah,
to do that.
it's built with Go lah. So
Yep, correct.
so there's the portability of the binary that sort of help it out.
Yep. So let's go on a bit. So this is actually the story is cool in the way that you know how to do software. That's really interesting. This one Google as a guitar tuner research. Okay.
I wonder
Uh,
why they add all of these small things on Google.
I
Maybe
suspect
they-
these are just hobbies.
Correct, correct. They just want to, well, just have fun. Allow developer to
Yeah,
have
but
fun.
so this sounds very much like how you would have a Grab super app or like the
Yeah,
AirAsia super app, where
correct, correct.
you have one place to go and then you expect everything, which Google is happening to be is starting to be that, like
Correct.
you start off with Google and then from there you launch into something else. And so you want a guitar tuner,
Correct,
you type
correct.
guitar tuner. Instead of taking you to a site of a guitar tuner, they just
Yes.
offer it themselves.
Mm.
I wonder
I-
if it's
But-
because
but-
a lot of people are searching for it.
Yes.
I
but,
suspect it's just a
line.
toy project of their 20% time.
Correct. It's about because Google actually had precedent in a way that the EU actually, or was it Germany, sued Google for manipulating Google Shopping. So there's a precedent of not going too far in a way that they got sued before for a very big sum. So yeah, they may go to a super app route, but they also will be a bit more careful about going to that route again, because Google Shopping is one of those things. As a result, I think that shut it off in some country or they just tone it down. So either way, very interesting stuff. This one, Sony joined TSMC on a new chip plant in Japan, which is cool in a way that it helps supply chain thing, because a lot of things is from Japan, for example, cars and whatnot, or the PS5, which I still don't have yet, got that in it. So it will not be just for Sony technology, the Sony stuff like the home entertainment stuff. This will also help the automaker group. So they will, because your car has full of microprocessors and microcontrollers actually. So this will actually help in terms of supply chain and this at Japan side. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. With this, maybe I will finally get the PS5 and move on. So this is actually an article on the type of crazy thing people do on the Texas Instrument calculator. It's actually one of those standard calculator.
How much is it again? This thing last time I remember it was bloody expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive, but it's a captured market because in the US they are required to use it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's I do not know whether it's this one or it could be something else. I do not know. Yeah, but it's expensive. But this thing,
Which
some
is,
of this can.
Which one is faster, this or a Raspberry Pi?
I don't know. To be honest,
Or a-
this might not be
Cool.
I think this is a captured market. It's
Correct.
just something that schools. I mean, there's a limited models of calculator that the schools or whatever the exam body allows.
Correct. So also this one actually, not this one, but the whole set of model can also run MicroPython.
If you still kept your Casio, the one that you use in secondary school,
Yep.
you still keep that around. It's actually this arithmetic wrong.
Yeah.
If you mix it with the priority, the multiplication, you mix it together, it's actually come up with the wrong answer.
Correct. So either way, this platform is run on a Z80, which is very slow. Remember, this is Z80, runs on 8 megahertz. Then on a small 96 or something, etc. Only 32 kilobyte of RAM. It's definitely slower than your Raspberry Pi. Definitely, they can run a form of DOS and a form of BASIC. Right, Z80 is very slow and very old, but people can do very interesting stuff because you can actually use the Z80 the Z80 actually of course, Z80 is used to run the Game Boy, I believe. So yeah, you can run Game Boy emulator on it. Not too crazy, but you can run Game Boy emulator on it. So this is interesting because to me, because people have you have something that you can hack and people hack it. So yeah. Any opinion on this? Now we move on.
No.
This one is a bit more interesting in the hobbies because
Apparently,
say you're on
the
a
rationale
room
is for your own good.
Yeah, but not really true. I don't believe
For
it.
your own
Since
good.
you're
They
protected
say,
from online threats.
from the net, you are now being offered an extra layer of protection.
Correct, but it's only offered for people 100 megabits below. So I don't get it, which is a good thing because occasionally I can use the public.
Oh, and also news. I think it's not in the bus corner, but GITN, the companies that manage all the .gov.my,
Yeah.
they decided to block all traffic from all non-Malaysian traffic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did they catch
At
something?
least
that-
yesterday, I think we didn't check, but it affected some of our services.
And it's a bad idea because unless
Imagine you're outside, you need to access some government service. Like I want to do some paperwork and stuff, you can't do it.
Yes. So I think it's silly and short-sighted just because nobody do anything on it.
Yeah, but I think it's correlate if they are being paranoid.
Yes.
The amount of leaks that came out.
Correct, but people can still bypass through it. So
Yeah, you just
So,
make it.
Yeah, well, the bypass is fine because now the computer or that location is under the jurisdiction of the government of Malaysia, right? So you can
Yeah.
subpoena them, and you can send police on where that relay is from. Because if it's from
Yeah,
outside and
legally,
it's outside
yes.
jurisdiction, you can't do it.
Legally, yes. So they give the legality, but in practice, it's also a bit more complicated because the ship industry association messed up the plan to set up that de-incentivize company from setting up data center in Malaysia. So as a result, we won't get. So for the Malaysian government to get better services, then they're only limited to only one or two providers, the traditional providers or the Alibaba Cloud, which actually have local presence for cloud-based services. So it had consequences. But back for this one, so let's say you're on the less than 100 megabit plan, it means that you can't host website on your servers and all that, just because. But most of the time you do not need it, but when you do need it, it's just awesome. So so your CCTV is not behind the net if you're on those. Meaning people can't just short them can't just find you, but you also can't find them as well outside. So yeah.
TM should set up a cloud service.
They do have
Like
hosting business, but they do not know how to work with people.
Yeah. Because if they're removing this, then you just took out a necessity for other people, right? And might as well provide that service that you just took out and charge for it.
Yes,
They'll get
that's
more money
actually
there.
that's a part of plan, but I don't think.
Oh, that's why
think
you
that
need to move to
service-
IPv6 lah. If it's
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
So this
so,
also give you the music IPv6.
I was reading this article. They kept talking about public IP, and then as if it's different from IPv6. I think they're just not really. Well, whoever wrote this probably is not very familiar.
Yeah.
Like your IPv6 can be public or private. It depends on your
Correct.
your ISP. Of course, usually it will be public because you have like billions and billions of IPv6 now,
Yeah,
unlike
correct,
IPv4. So
Correct.
having a public IP does not necessarily mean you have IPv4.
No.
Yeah, so
in this case,
whenever you're reading it.
what really happened is there's no public IPv4 for this plan, but they plan to. So here's the thing I'm going to show. It's possible they have public IP. Yes, they're going to migrate customers to use IPv6. Actually, that's the point. That's the whole point, actually. So because the IP is getting, there's not a lot of IP in the public anymore. It's getting expensive. It's just easier to just put all of these people under one subnet, under one net, and just don't give them the IPv4. So yeah. So let's move on. This is just a business thing. My Chris sold into Maxis. So this is actually for the high-speed wireless and wire service now, meaning my Chris will. What does my Chris do anyway? Do they provide ISP or their service ISP? I think that I remember them doing a small ISP before, but I think nowadays they just serve ISP. I think they just sell the business out of the stock. Nothing much here. This one, DOS Lite. This Lite is interesting to me because it used to be you want to have DOS Lite aesthetic for your game. You have to write DOS game and put it under FreeDOS on Cameo. So this do not need to do that. It's just very interesting thing you probably do not need. You don't need this at all, but just there. So then final one before I go on. This is the Minister of what minister is here again?
For what?
This is actually one of the provincial department.
Yeah,
So
they
this
stop trying to chase people away.
Yeah. This precisely, right? So there's so many reasons why
There are two things.
we don't have that.
There are
Yes.
two things. Popular, unpopular is that one is that stop chasing people away.
Correct.
Second one is stop being bloody xenophobic. I mean, if people can contribute, just they are part of us. It's just I don't care. Like it's
yes.
Don't
So
care
you
who
have
you are.
those big things. Once you have that thing, then you also have you have all the big things under it. It's also the investment for people.
By now, with the by environmental crisis and everything, is that we should already mature enough to understand that these things are not just limited to the boundary. I mean the boundary of the nation.
Correct. So
the borders.
also need to have money to incentivize people to do that. If not willing to do that, then they say you want to take names.
The irony is that I'm gonna still add a bit of thing. We like to celebrate like when like Malaysia got recognized outside, right? But a lot of the local policy, the Malaysian policy, are just exclusive to locals only.
Correct. So it's really bad in so many.
It's very funny, just that we celebrate how much that our people got recognized outside and accepted outside.
Yeah. But never notice the fact that the country never actually invests enough.
I mean, like if you look at things like Contest Survivor or certain events, like it's just very silly that they put in Malaysian only.
Correct.
Yeah, let's move on. So
yes. But either way, this is one of those things where you want to learn about government policies and all that. So that being said, unfortunately, I can't show this thing. You know what? I'm going to switch camera. Okay, I'm going to switch camera. That is sleep now. Cool. Okay, I'm using my wide lens, so as a result, it's really distorted in a short distance. Most of the time it's fine, but I wonder what happened.
Is this a prime lens?
This is actually a prime lens. Can I show myself? No. This one. So this is actually the device. So this is called the video terminal. I have the box with me, thankfully. Unfortunately, it's too close. Right, video terminal. Terbalik. And it's impossible to read. Yeah, it's distorted. I'm going to show you the full spread on the web page later. So let's switch to the screen. Let's switch to the window for now. How do I? Okay. So this thing is a SAMD microcontroller. It's not a microcontroller, it's more like a development system because the microcontroller is just one part of the whole set thing. And also the SAMD doesn't provide wireless connectivity. It's actually connected through the Realtek. It's a Realtek chip. So it's a microcontroller Realtek chip. It officially support Arduino and MicroPython. Officially. But the only thing that can run wireless connectivity is actually the Arduino. It's run on 170 megahertz, which is actually faster than the Z80, the TI calculator. You have some 4 megabit external flash and 192 KB of RAM with Wi-Fi. It had a screen, of course, IMU. We had an IMU, microphone, buzzer, SD card, which is hard to take out, interestingly, like sensor and an emitter.
Well, I guess the SD card is, well, this is supposed to be for industrial as well, right? So you need your SD card to be firmly inside.
Correct. So so this is the spec of it on paper. I'm going to show. How do I show?
So this is like the M5 stack. I think they're envisioning it like something you can do.
Correct.
Like something that hobbyists can work with, but can also be the end product itself. So it's rugged enough to be used as an end product.
I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Okay, so one thing you notice is that my camera do not know how to zoom.
Yeah.
This is actually more rectangle.
Sweemeng's fingers are very thin and sexy.
Thank you.
It's like candles.
So this is actually a tribute product in a way that is packaged for you. So unlike the Arduino and all that, it does not show you the PCB. I should bring my Arduino, but it's all the way on the other side. Don't worry about that. So it comes with an LCD screen, a few buttons. So this is actually a 5-way button. Then the 3 buttons on top. Then I think it's a buzzer. Then of course this is the groove connector. This is actually the multi-purpose groove connector, meaning you can use it both for serial I2C or use it as digital. And analog.
But how do you switch it then? Like which pins is it connected to? Because the SAMD21 or SAMD51 does not have multiplexed pins unlike the Nordic chips. So it has to connect to either serial or I2C.
So what happened is they actually set pin mode. I don't know. Apparently it was,
okay. If there's a pin mode, then yes, then it's multiplexed. So maybe it is multiplexed. Because
cancel that. I am wrong.
Okay.
I am wrong because the groove connector is doing. Okay, I'm going.
You want to share your screen? Yeah.
I'm going to share my screen. I try to understand what they're trying to say. In fact, I try to have these two running. I do not know how to do these two. Never mind, have that.
You can do a side by side.
Can I do side by side? How do I do side by side? Oh.
So you remove us, and then share the screen, and do a side by side like this. Okay. Just remove us.
Okay. Okay. I'm so confused. Okay, then I need to do it here. All right. So on the left side, you will see the connector, right? Okay, here you are. Then you, from here you'll see that there is the radar. So one is default I2C port, the other is a digital analog pin. So it's actually two different ones. They're not the full feature pin. I don't remember which is which, to be honest. Let me zoom in the screen a bit. It's digital. What pin is this? This is analog 0, analog 1, then. So I think what really happened is because some analog and digital pin can be used together, so they just set it as analog digital. Then the other one is the actual I2C and serial lah. So they can switch over. So yeah, in short, I'm going to bring you guys in. You guys, without sound is
Yep.
weird.
Mm-hmm.
So in short, actually one of them is actually analog and digital, because by default any pin can be used for digital. Then the other one is actually I2C and also serial. I believe they can use a serial. I could be wrong, but that's what the specs say lah. Then if you don't have enough, so what happens is you can also use la la la. I'm confused. Here you are. You also have the extra GPIO from below. So this will expose all the extra GPIO that you don't need to use, and this will have the full thing lah. And this is actually Raspberry Pi compatible. So meaning you can use this as a Raspberry Pi shield. And you can actually use this as a display, Raspberry Pi display. A bit small, but it's doable. It's absolutely
So
doable.
speaking of Raspberry Pi, you should buy the new Maker hat for Maker Hat Base.
Oh,
Have you seen
yeah,
it?
that's actually really interesting, because I like that one because they actually make it easy for you to connect over and experiment.
Let me get mine because I already got mine.
Damn, you guys. Well, these days we're going to ask Citron to give discount to us. So yeah, this is all-in-one device, meaning you can already, with this alone, you can already do a lot of stuff. In fact, quite a lot of the sensor is on I2C, so you can add on a groove connector, meaning you can experiment right away. Also, this USB you can use it as USB host and USB client. So meaning you can actually turn this device as with an external keyboard on there. It's possible to turn this into a gaming console, for example. But you also can turn this into a keyboard, which actually used as a demo, which I hope to do later.
And
So yeah, and also
and anti-cheats won't even be able to detect it because
correct.
it's just a keyboard.
And also this thing here is actually the firmware, because what happened is how you actually upload a firmware is you actually compile it as a UF2 file, then you upload it. I will show you later. I hope, because I actually
this is the new the UF2, I think, right? UF2.
Yeah.
Well, it mimics a drive, and then you just copy and paste to. You just copy or drag over into that window, or if you're using terminal, you just copy it over.
Correct.
Sorry, can you show the bottom again where the 40-pin Pi adapter is?
Yeah, here you are.
So this is a problem because it's not raised, and so this is going to hit the Pi component. So you probably need like a riser or something, a 40-pin riser for this.
Definitely need that. And also the reason why this is exposed, because see the white small square here to set the SD card. They're almost pointing. That is actually the light sensor, but it's just an analog. It's just an analog. It's just here as analog, so nothing fancy compared to the Arduino Nano 33 here. So compare this with the M5 stack.
Yeah, so the M5 stack is where really your lens is distorting the
correct.
image.
So either way, it's roughly the same size, but the M5 stack is thinner. But the M5 stack is a bit okay. This is the Fire, so it got a bit more. It's got a bit more feature because it more thing.
And it also has a larger battery, right? Does the wheel terminal have a battery?
Not at all. By default, not at all. It's something that you have to add yourself. It's something that you have to buy. There's an add-on for it, or you can put a battery.
Yeah, so the another problem here is because this serves as a hat, right? But there are battery hats for the Pi, but it's not going to work here because they're both hats, and this one doesn't accept the hat on top.
So what happened? What you would use this with the Pi with is you would sensitive. Never mind. I had Circuit Pi on it. I didn't test screen. Never mind. Because you're supposed to get power directly from the Pi, so you won't use that. You would need battery if you want to use this as a standalone device. This doesn't have that. Also, unlike that, but the M5 set battery is not really that big either, so you can't run forever
Yeah.
for it.
And
But it's still there for a reason.
yeah, I guess because it's a SAMD 51, right? So
Yeah,
it's a quite a powerful chip, but also quite power hungry, and so it doesn't
correct.
really make much sense to battery power it
Yeah,
because it has an LCD, and so it's going to be used like with that display. It's going to be power hungry. It doesn't make much sense for a battery powered
correct.
independent operation just by itself. So you might want to like
Yeah.
put a charger or a battery.
Also, one thing that they don't have here is actually a sound. They have buzzer, but they don't have speaker. The M5 set have it. But what this thing have for their own is the GPIO at the back. You can literally they have enough for you to do anything when you need it. It's actually awesome.
Yeah.
So,
So do you
but
want to show
it's
my
comparable.
my screen as well? So this is the
Yeah,
what do you call this?
let's show Tristan's screen. How do I show
The
it?
maker base. So
Yeah.
we were talking about the Pi, right? So it goes.
Yeah.
This is the hat. So this end goes to the Pi. So you plug it into
Yeah.
the Pi, and then of course with the rest of the maker series by Cytron, you have all of the LEDs here. Or where's the
Correct.
here? The LEDs, and so you know
Yeah.
whether a particular pin is being used or not. So it's
Yeah.
great feedback for debugging. Of course, you have your Grove connectors as well, the same as
Correct.
the wheel terminal. So I was just saying because this is so you can see this is similar to the form factor for the Pi where you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
your 40 pin. So
Yeah.
I asked for the bottom of the Wii U terminal. This
Yeah.
is not going to fit there by
No,
itself.
it definitely
You need
can't.
a riser.
Correct. But somebody managed to do it in a way that it's barely connected. It's not too good. You should have a riser to make it better.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Or just like do something like this, like a ribbon
yeah,
cable,
correct.
but not the
Uh,
female ribbon cable. It has to be like the male portion.
Correct. I think they may do something similar with this for. So just off topic. What happened because this thing by default they have microphone but they don't have a sound system. So Sage actually had a line of product called the V speaker. That one is the V speaker 2 actually. So that thing actually was very compatible by head, meaning plug it in and this that. So what happened is they used this compatibility and give the view terminal a sound system so that it can output sound and potentially even get input from there. So it'll be a much better microphone because that is actually a digital microphone that nice for this kind of thing. So I'm going to share the whole screen actually. I'm going to share full screen actually. I'm going to share full screen because I may have to share the whole ta-da! One step at a time. Confused. Okay, so first I need to put myself in the side on the center somehow. Oh, no. How should I put myself? Oh, I know how. Yeah, just put here and put here. All right. So the first thing is I already put circuit Pi on it. So it's a bit boring, but I'm going to boot in. Okay. So boot in, you get Arduino. Oh, sorry. 2 times. So now, and this is how you do the U2F. So I have a circuit Python. Then I just copy over. Then it will they'll pick it up and reboot. The interesting thing so there's some sample code running. Then the screen may be hard to read, but it shows that it works. Then what happened is you get a circuit Pi file system, which I believe this is actually what a demo code that I get from Seed Studio. Then there is a Hello World printing. problem. I do not know how to run this yet. This is my first time. To be honest, this is actually my first time running this. So yeah, I need to find the documentation. Let me figure out how to do CircuitPython on serial. Oh, actually, I can do this. I can do this. Give me a moment. My hand is too tight. Help. Oh, I know how. Control R. Yeah. So we wrote syntax error. So I got a Python shell. So import main.
I think you need to reverse the screens because now we can't see.
Oh,
I mean, it's more
Wait.
important to see your terminal rather than the device.
oh yeah. Oh, you okay? Yeah, you're right. How do I do that? I'm so confused.
Oh,
No. Now it's here. I see that. Then I need to put my face somewhere here. But I need to put it here.
yep. This
Then
looks fine. Yep. And then just make your terminal larger.
yeah. So let
The
me
font size.
cancel Control C. Control C. Oh, wrong button. So Control Shift plus. Better.
Mm-hmm.
So implement this is actually a bit of hack and it's running. But it does, I don't remember how we run it by default. Let me move my camera away so that my hand doesn't interfere with things. Actually, one way to do that is just simply reboot and go in. Yeah. So yeah, there's a few things you can do with it. So let's go to the CircuitPython. So one thing that you cannot do with this is you cannot get network connectivity with it because CircuitPython works with ESP32 now actually, so they will get the on-board Wi-Fi, or they may actually use. In fact, I believe quite a few of the peripherals do not actually have wireless connectivity. I do not believe this is the case. So you download EF2 file, then just copy over this as shown just now. Then yeah. Then you just copy over. In fact, you can use command line if you want to actually. Actually, it should get value. Okay, I try to understand later. But either way, CircuitPython works until wireless, but you cannot do everything. So for example, you can't do MP3 audio, but you probably can do servo, you can do PWM. There's no RGB LED on this, so you can do stuff because CircuitPython can actually do quite a lot of stuff by default because the Adafruit own development system, development board do have all these things supported by default, one way or another. So this is actually a big difference, the big difference between CircuitPython on this and on the device. But you do get quite a but you also get all the cool things that CircuitPython support. For example, you get SD card, then you get capacitive charge if you do have the peripheral. So anything that all the peripheral with CircuitPython have the driver bit. You can possibly use it, but as usual there's a caveat, but it's there. So anything you want to know about Python before go on?
No, like I guess the difference between CircuitPython and MicroPython, because I've heard there are two different things.
Yeah, it's different. It's used to be fork, but they add a lot more stuff. So let me get Python versus MicroPython. I don't know. La la. Let's see. So it's a fork, as I said just now, but so they make it easy for you to actually do that. It used to be MicroPython, the hardware also do something like that. They don't do it by default anymore. So for example, your ESP, it was to say ESP32 doesn't do that. You have to flash it. So you probably can get that in the old PyBot, but not on ESP. So, and they have a change of API. So for example, your PyBot, so on MicroPython, your PyBot don't necessarily have the same API as Raspberry as the ESP, for example, because the pin is different and all that. So they try to make this compatible, and because this is from Adafruit, so this one Adafruit, meaning they will do a lot of support for you for education hardware to make this easy for you to develop. This is actually the big difference. Whereas in terms of support, your MicroPython may seems a bit bad. So you do have to find community support for hardware. So even things like, remember the pollution sensor that we use, that's the HPA, that's the Honeywell HPA series. Chances is you probably can get support down there. Even if you don't, then you see there's a lot of library that get you ready. Whereas MicroPython is a bit more blank. So let's go back to CircuitPython. Let's go back to this. I hope to have demo, but I don't think I have time. Maybe I can have time. Let's see. Let me see if I can do that first. Yes, maybe no. Okay, forget it. La 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 la. We are coming up. So a few things I want to try later. The sensor is a bit meh to me. I'm going to add something in the future anyway. But start audio, let me show that here. By default, you can play on. You need to use a SSA with speaker head, so you can't really do it by default. So that's one problem. They have Wi-Fi, but only available if you use Arduino. And this is actually useful for the digital IoT project, so they can. But one of the cool thing, unlike things like the M5 stack or this one had very good support in the way that there is official documentation to upload data to cloud services, but not on Amazon. M5 stack recently have an Amazon support, but that's very recent. But this one is cool in a way that they have all the documentation. Because remember when we want to build the pollution sensor with the HPA sensor, the pollution sensor, I'm struggling to find API, find information needed for me to upload data up to the internet. So this one actually will show you how to do it. So this will make it easier for you to build an Internet of Things product, which I think is actually pretty cool. Do you actually saw my screen, or you seeing something else?
No, screen.
Yeah, we see your screen.
Yeah, just have multiple monitors, so my head moves around.
Oh, sorry. Let me switch to the right thing. So yeah, good support for you to do one thing. This they have Bluetooth 5. So you can do basic Bluetooth thing, but more interestingly, you can do web Bluetooth, so they can upload data online. It's actually very cool. Then you can do beacon. So this thing can be a beacon. So as I said, this alone already can do quite a few interesting stuff already. IMU is just standard. It's interesting just because you can do a watch and all that, but buttons, yeah, all the 5 buttons. So what you want to do with this button is, so for example, this is actually it's a micro keyboard, but I use all the extra buttons to set modes. So you see here, this is how you set a button. It's all digital. It's standard Arduino, nothing special here. Nothing special here. Then I just read the value low. When it's low, then do whatever lah. So the button is just standard button stuff, nothing special here. Fibers is just a button. Again, I show you just now. It's just a button. Light sensor is an analog value. Just show light intensity. So unlike the Nano 33, the Arduino Nano 33 LED sense, that sensor actually can do color and all that. So that is more featureful. But they try to keep the cost low, I suppose. But yeah, it's okay. It's useful. It can be useful. IR emitter, if you want to play prank on television. The microphone is useful. It's interesting because if you want to do 10 ml project, the more interesting thing you can do is to do microphone. I mean, you can use the IMU to do activity tracking, but you have to turn this into watch. Then buzzer RTC. Oops, I need to do this thing. RTC. So RTC is nice. Okay, now here's why I think RTC is nice. So, no, to go to this, I need to go to the library. So remember the sensor I'm talking about, the HPS sensor, the Haze project. So one of the problem that I do have on the M5 stack is that there's no library for me to easily create a chart. So with this, I can potentially have a chart
Are you supposed to display that directly? Because one of the things about
they give an option. It gives an option.
Not for the practicality of it, just basically for
correct.
There's an option to
but
do
if
it.
you do correct, so let's say one reason for me to have it is so that I don't need to log into Grafana. I can use Grafana as long-term analysis.
Yeah, for the detailed analysis like alerts and stuff.
Correct. But for this one, I can see like few hours ago, or even better, I can see the chart directly. Then at this moment, so using the position sensor for this example, during the Sweemeng prayer, so I can actually do a quick comparison before starting burning the incense, before and after, right? And that would be easier if I had a device on the spot right now and do debugging. So it gives me an option. And RTC, the real-time clock, would actually make the timing and all that more accurate. Because by default, not all microcontrollers have it. Then, of course, you have the file system. You need to save image, yada yada.
Well, usually for real-time clocks, you'll have it external anyway.
Correct.
Communicating via RC, but because usually, well, there is a clock on the microcontroller, but it can deviate, and so you'd rather have it like on an outside one.
Correct. Because one of the thing about this is this thing actually have Wi-Fi, so you may want to do like initial NTP sync and all that as well. I'm just saying it's an option. SD card support, USB. I hope I have time to show the demo. I didn't have time. And finally, the real interesting thing for me is actually H-Impulse 10 ml, because SAMD50, the SAMD51 actually had official TensorFlow Lite micro support. And unlike the M5 stack, the M5 stack, the TensorFlow library is third party. So what they do on the M5 stack is they actually take the ESP32 demo, then they try to adapt, then they do some changes and adapt it to Arduino. But the thing is, I don't think it's updated. Whereas the Arduino official TensorFlow library, that is reasonably updated and it's officially supported. So there's an advantage of using that tiny ML on the VO compared to compared to ESP32 lah. So you got pretty well supported library for TensorFlow. So, and there's a good enough example. I'm trying to do something interesting, but I don't have time to do that, but maybe later. But once you have this, once you have do TensorFlow, and then you can be smart about your sensor. So the
When are-
motion sensor, I can do a small neural network that remember pattern and call an anomaly if something will happen. Yes,
When are we expecting your blog post for the review of the Wio terminal?
I had
Yeah,
a
really.
review on blog post already up.
You already got it.
Mm. Ah.
But I want to
No,
add
I mean the
more.
one
I want
that you're
to
talking about with the tiny ML stuff.
No, I want to work on project first. Let me see what kind of silly thing I can work
Are you
on
gonna
first.
are you gonna reboot the air sensor? Let me show you my air sensors. So
Show
for
me.
my, but
Is
yeah,
it your nose?
I haven't really haven't tested out whether they can be interfaced or not. I'm gonna remove this screen first.
Yeah.
I have this thing. Let me take two of them.
Yeah.
I have a CO2 sensor.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
because it's a very hot day and I actually had my windows and door closed, so the CO2 is very high. But
Yeah.
it also warns me if it reaches 1,000 because
Correct.
it gonna beeps, and they're gonna help me to not stuff my brains from oxygen. So and then I got a PM sensor.
Yeah.
So multiple air quality one. So there's
Yeah.
005 now for 2.5.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know whether there can be interface.
Yeah. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these you don't have. They do not. You need to find the
The-
exact spec, then see whether people actually have.
The thing is that at least it's allowed me to optimize my airflow, whether I know I should open, because I'm actually living around the industrial area and they like
Yes.
doing unfortunately, as much as we want to talk about like solving the big problems, there's a lot of small local problems that have to solve. It's kind of a localized pollution. So I know when I can open my windows,
Yeah.
and I know when should I like also not close my door, so
Yeah.
that it warns me that when the CO2 is got too high. And normally I used to have headache when I work in my room for too long because it might be caused by the CO2 level.
Correct.
Yeah, I posted a few on the comments on private chat, like the review I did for an NRF 52840. One of the projects I did is an air quality dashboard via web Bluetooth.
Yeah.
So if you want to see the YouTube, like prototype, it's there, and then the article itself on how I made it.
I think
is
Sweemeng
there as
should reboot it at least. At least we
Yeah.
have something
Yeah.
that at least because since Sweemeng got a sensor anyway, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to
So-
share
You know what, I will-
these links?
Yeah. I will share the
Yeah,
links once I.
I think you can post. I think you're logged in as admin, right?
Yeah.
Am I? I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay,
Because
I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna just forward it to the chat.
Yeah. That's the article,
thing
and then the
is-
YouTube is a separate link as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to write the blog. I kind of lazy. I was trying to automate these. Let me do one thing at a time. This is one of those times where I have all sort of side project with some
You're gonna
responsibility.
one of those times they're gonna chill.
Yeah, in this case, this is actually a review device from Seed Studio.
Yeah.
And they don't
And
require.
did you talk about it? Like it's actually sponsored by them.
Oh yeah.
It's a free
So,
unit. So yeah.
This unit is
For
actually sponsored
transparency.
by Seed Studio for transparency reason. This unit actually sponsored by Seed Studio. So for me to review, I get to keep it, and I will. But that being said,
You
I
will.
will bring it to if the physical window is up, I'm going to let you guys hack a bit and all that lah. Just because.
My main thing is that I'm actually curious about like if you guys have air quality sensor. Is that I want to see how much is it that it's something on a regional scale, like just like when like I cannot just simply lay blames to that they are burnings from our neighbor country, or is
Yeah,
it some localized burning that happen in the middle of the night? So not sure
correct.
how you're gonna make use of it right now, but at least
Yeah,
it's something to start. Yeah, at least solve our localized burning issue first.
correct. So that being said, last one, you can do TensorFlow. I will go and write the article for it because one, even though it's something I promised Cecilia to write, but more importantly, it's actually a fun thing that I want to do. So it aligned to the thing I
Yeah,
do. So I have a few
I
ideas.
promise, I promised O'Reilly to write them reviews many years ago.
Yes, they don't chase me, but I already had something, but it's just I just don't want to be an asshole.
Oh, this is the battery chassis. So yeah,
Correct.
I
So it's something that
made
you
this kit.
do. It's something that you do have to get. So unlike the M5 stack lah, so this is something that you do
Well, the
have.
M5 stack usually comes with a battery, but
Correct.
it's a separate thing from the LCD. So I guess that's how
Correct.
they're
Correct.
doing it. They're
Because
just charging for it.
this is a battery for it, but instead have a smaller battery, but this is a bigger battery. So yeah, in short, it's actually a very good device in a way. Not because I'm sponsored, no. Okay, the real reason for it is because this is actually unlike your Arduino, you already it's your this make your Arduino in a way that is pretty bad. So for example, you don't have you need to get your own button before you can use it to turn it into a
I
keyboard,
think
right?
it's standalone enough.
Yeah,
The
it's
benefit
standalone
that
enough.
yeah, you don't need
Correct.
to require anything to display that.
Correct. So what I do with the keyboard which I should share. Okay, this is the last one I'm going to share. I'm only to share the source code. I have the video actually. I do not have anything else. I do not have extra sensor. This is just keyboard, the keyboard library button and the display, and that's about it. And so it's possible, it's entirely possible to build a whole project on this type of node. So you don't have to worry about getting screen, setting up your button, and all that. So that's the one thing. So you can start a project already to learn the capability of the device. And if you do need the extra sensor, then then the GPIO exists for the reason. So for example, like HPA sensor will definitely work because that thing actually connect through the groove connector. So I can use that, right? So in short, yes, this is actually a very cool device in a way that it's standalone, able to use, able to have, and very capable. So which is why I'm pretty impressed. I just have too much fun for it. So much fun, I forget to finish the code for automating the bus DevKami blog post. But that's the story of another day.
Yeah, speaking of that, we're the homepage is at 146. This is already episode 150. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
shame
to
on
correct.
you,
catch up, you
Sweemeng.
can just go to the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
No,
very
it's
useful for now.
we
Use of
need
that.
to make the thing is that one of the motto or the philosophy of this thing is that we need to make it as low effort as possible, because since
Correct.
each of us have our own stuff to, our own stuff to get busy at. So yeah,
Yeah.
so
So, anything you guys want to ask about the device and all that before I go on?
nah, not really.
No. Well, next
It's
time let's
it's
talk about your watch, your Kickstarter watch
I
thing.
probably have something
Ah,
more to ask if it's the first time I'm seeing it, but because we already have the background of a seats to the M3 M5 stack,
mhm.
so it's sort of like a familiar face.
So, one last comparison with the M5 stack. It's roughly do the same thing, but it's also very different in a way that the library support is different. The primary one is a software ecosystem is different enough that it differentiate. It's two different products. Even though I'm each product each doing something a bit differently, but in the end of the day, even though it's not the same in the surface, but it's still
Yeah,
different for various reasons.
Yeah,
So with that said,
if
last
it's
one.
but if you
Go
move
on.
like a duck, it quacks like a duck. It is a duck.
Correct. It is a duck, but it can be a goose as well. So
Yeah, what do you know?
it
Right?
can be a goose as well. Oh, not this one, not this one, not this one, this one. Never mind.
Where's
It's not
your
pawn, it's pawn.
Kickstarter? Yes. What is this?
This is the AI camera, but I'm backing it and keeping it.
Oh,
Even
you have
though
so
it's-
many things backed.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this one, when is it gonna ship anyway?
Oh, this one will be so. This one, the campaign is over. Campaign is over.
Oh,
The
did
promise
you
was
back
shipped
it?
By, yes. I back it. So, but it was shipped on November. But it's more likely to arrive Malaysia by. Well, if I'm lucky,
if
Christmas.
I would consider you is pretty lucky if you can get it within this year.
Yeah, more likely before Chinese New Year, to be honest. That's my experience lah. Because they promised to start shipping by November. But experience tell me it's more likely to arrive by Chinese New Year. When it does arrive, another review. And
But
people,
they're doing DHL shipping though, so that should be faster than.
No, it's assuming that the
Right.
manufacturing is not gonna have any issue.
no, they already handled the manufacturing.
Oh, okay. So it's just a matter of what then what's the Kickstarter about anyway?
So they pre-make a batch so that they can ramp out the.
Yeah,
so
it
what
means
is
that it
the
still has to
situation
be
now?
manufactured.
No.
No.
So
The watch is
whatever back
like
Kickstarter-
off the shelf thing. The Kickstarter is about the software.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's about the software. So they
So
already ordered
they're
it.
shipping it out. They're shipping out the pre-made watches, the off-the-shelf watches,
So
burning the
it could
firmware.
it
and
could
the-
fund other things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the
correct.
software is still being updated after the watch is shipped. So it's
Yes,
funding
but
the
they're
development of the software.
Yeah, and what happened also, some of the tier will only get it later. So I suspect that there is also to gauge interest, to get more and all that, so that they can do more order lah. But primarily it's the software.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And so look at that update. We're out of rewards. So a few days before the Kickstarter ends, they actually
Yeah.
stopped like receiving more pledges because they can't they only bought like so many watches. Like, I
Yeah.
think 3,000 watches or something, and then it's
Correct.
all sold out. How many is it? 2,500.
2000. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will
So
get
it was
it.
really
I
successful.
I think Tristan will get it. The guys in the office is excited in a way that it's JavaScript, and they think I will move to
Yeah.
JavaScript.
So
Yeah,
I have
but the JavaScript is just
I have the V1. So this is V1. V2
Yeah.
is much faster and much more power efficient. Smaller as well, full touchscreen, and you can read it in sunlight even though it's not AMOLED. So it's
And
quite
me, I'm just excited because this thing can run TensorFlow. Right? I'm just crazy.
you can so
Okay,
there
fine.
even this one you can do like the gestures like this for example, and then it will do something. And because it's Bluetooth,
Correct.
like it can connect to like what I've been doing. Like I can turn off the lights, let's say, by just doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Correct.
haven't set it up with using your node.
I can do
Node
Power
Red.
Ranger move or something.
How you
Okay,
move.
last one. Another thing to review. Probably not this one, but this one is more interesting. This one they already manufacture it, but they pre-made a batch. Then this is to they will pre-make a batch. They will pre-make a batch, which I will get. Then they try to see how much they want to get more for the future. So this is interesting because I like AI as well. And again, once this arrive, this one they promised to ship by December. Again, more likely to arrive by Chinese New Year. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Sweemeng's
hope-
rapper motto is I like AI and I can't lie.
yeah, correct.
That's
Just
that's
that.
what he will say.
It used to be anything that run Python I will buy, but nowadays it's anything that run AI.
Anything that is hackable.
Yeah. These will
Yeah,
come
Chinese
much
will back
later.
this?
Yeah, we talked about this last week, right?
Yeah. So this is next year, so don't worry about that. So with that said, I think we're done. Thanks for
Yeah, what are we
thanks for
gonna talk about next week anyway?
next week. I have no plan, to be honest.
We can actually have.
Well, it's actually next week. Is it Halloween yet? No, it's not Halloween yet.
It's gonna be the last week, last week
Yeah.
of October.
So I have so think of a IT horror story.
You want to talk about folklore, local horror stories? That horror story you grew up with. Apparently, I found out recently that we grew up with different folklores.
Yeah. Then we may review some scary game,
I
Malaysian
don't know
scary game
what sort of
that
scary
exists.
game.
That exists. I may review it. I may review it, even though I hate it. I hate it.
Favorites.
That's end of the month. Next week, I have no idea. Next week, no idea. So let's see. So with that said, thanks for indulging us. I hope you guys follow us and all that. So yeah, thanks for listening. Goodbye. Okay.
Bye. See you next week. Like, share, subscribe,
Yes.
all of these things.
Yes, like, subscribe, and all that.
Wait, what?
Why did he leave?